grass, but not yours, Lord. So be with us, watch over and protect us, and keep us safe. We ask all this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Please rise for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, I need a motion on the work session minutes for March 15th.
Mr. President, move for adoption.
All in favor, raise your hand.
5 with 2 and 3 abstaining.
Mike.
Okay. Need a motion for the regular council meeting minutes on the 15th of March.
Mr. President, move to adopt.
Yes, sir. All in favor, raise your hand.
5 with 2 and 3 abstaining.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, you're up. We got a bunch of folks behind you.
Good to see all these guys. Good to see everybody here tonight. Thank you for being. Thank you, Mr. President, for the opportunity. It's good to be here before the council. I think I've got a pretty short message, so I'm going to try to get right to it. But I'll start off by, I guess, formally introducing to the council our new police chief, Darrell Albert. I want to welcome him. Chief, you will please stand up. Thank you so much. Welcome aboard. I think he's figured out all of the problems in his 8 days on the job. So we're ready to put him to the test, as you saw earlier today. But no, he is a great guy, and we're looking forward to what he brings in terms of his 32 years of experience, as well as his strategies to use 21st century policing, embracing technology as a force multiplier, and re-energizing our officers and improving morale to shore up that staffing level. And I think, his work will complement our strategies that many of our community leaders are implementing already in their own scope to try to help us bring down violent crime. And, for us to have seen the January to February drop of 40% was certainly positive, but we're not going to rest. We're not going to pat ourselves on the back. We know that this is a day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month issue that we all have to work together to try to solve. And so I'm glad of the work that the community is doing. I'm certainly glad of the work even our Office of Violence Prevention is doing in conjunction with that. So again, Chief, thank you for being here, and they'll certainly, I know you want to talk to the council members, and they'll, I'm sure, be finding a time for all of you to talk about some of the things that they hear, they know, and they see are going on in their districts in ways that we can come up with some solutions to address those. So really appreciate that. Now I'm going to go to something that I prematurely got involved in, and that's addressing homelessness. This may be a repeat for some who were here during the work session, but just as we're trying to interrupt violence in Montgomery, we hope to interrupt the conditions that cause homelessness. We're working with groups that build tiny homes. Councilman Mitchell just told me about some initiatives that he has for District 6, and I know that some of the other council members have some of those going on as well. Earlier today, we were talking with Montgomery Housing Authority about a number of issues about affordable housing, but as it relates to the homeless, cities across the country are working to develop community-centered goals and partnerships to address this issue through rehousing efforts and resources from the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, otherwise known as HUD. Even agencies such as the U.S. Interagency Council on Homelessness is working to address this issues. Because whether or not you're affluent cities like Austin or Denver, where people are setting up tent cities, or your cities, mid-sized cities like ours, Shreveport and Greenville, South Carolina, we're all trying to struggle to find that balance of how do we address this issue. Questions often arise as to how we can guarantee paths to housing, to reduce housing and shelter gaps where they exist, and provide those support services for the impacted persons. Believe it or not, we have students right now in our public school system who are sleeping in cars, who are sleeping in abandoned houses. We have students that don't know with which family member they're going to be with from day to day and time to time. So it's not even just adults that we're seeing having to address this issue, we're also seeing among young people. And so today, I'll sign a proclamation committing our community to join cities across the country in launching a task force to address this systemic issue and moral obligation. The proclamation reads, whereas confronting homelessness requires a collective effort by key stakeholders to address such issues effectively and efficiently, and whereas the office of the mayor shall establish a task force on addressing homelessness to cultivate a shared vision and citywide agenda in partnership with key stakeholders in the fight to meet the needs of impacted residents. And whereas the task force shall independently and identify intervention gaps in aiding the needs of persons suffering from homelessness. And whereas the task force will need to evaluate existing policies or even some that need to be put on the books concerning issues around housing, shelter, health services, and panhandling, while also finding and examining existing data detailing the state of homelessness in Montgomery. Now, therefore, I, Stephen L. Reed, Mayor of the City of Montgomery, Alabama, do hereby establish a task force on addressing homelessness in the City of Montgomery to cultivate a shared vision and citywide agenda in partnership with key stakeholders in the fight to meet the needs of impacted residents. I'll sign it at this time, and it will go into effect as of the 5th day of April, 2022. The Mayor's Task Force on Addressing Homelessness comprises leaders of organizations who will play an active role on the ground, engaging our homeless community directly, providing food, shelter, and services critical to hygiene, health, and overall wellness. Members of this task force will include the Montgomery Area Mental Health Authority, the Mid-Alabama Coalition for the Homeless, Friendship Mission, Family Promise, Mercy House, Montgomery Pride United, Hands on River Region, the Salvation Army, and others. I'm excited to see what comes from these collective efforts, and we're not trying simply just to meet and talk. We want to have an action plan. We want to meet and do. We have a moral responsibility to mitigate homelessness in ways that restores life and renews strength in those who have felt the weight of it for far too long. And so for all of our stakeholders and all those who work on the front lines of this issue every day, we thank you for the work that you do. We thank you for giving your ideas to the city and to us, for us to try to implement and to bring before for support, funding, as well as just overall wellness for our city. And without you and the partnerships with you and your organization, the members who help support it, we would not be able to address this issue. We would not be able to move forward with a progressive way to seek to provide shelter and homes, even if it's temporary transition, for people who need it during a time of physical, mental, or even financial crisis that they otherwise would not be able to meet. And so we thank you for all the work that you do. And at this time, I just want to thank you, but just with a round of applause. Now, I would like to go to other community partners, and those are people who are working in our neighborhoods. The city awarded $52,000 to Montgomery neighborhoods, and we would like to acknowledge those 15 Montgomery neighborhoods as part of our 2022 annual neighborhood grant program. This grant can go as high as $5,000 per neighborhood to fund sustainable projects that provide public value in Montgomery's neighborhoods and through our overall community. We'll welcome an association president or community representative from each of these neighborhoods to come up and receive their award. We'll also ask that they stay on stage and take a photo with myself and the City Council after the awards are distributed. At this time, I'll ask Director of Communications, Griff Waller, to come and announce the neighborhoods as we hand out these awards.
Yes, sir. And I know we have our neighborhood representatives with us. If, when I call your neighborhood, just walk up, get your proclamation from Mayor Reed and the award, and we'll take a photo. Arrowhead Homeowners Association. Yet if we come up, you'll remain up here for the group photo of the council. Capitol Heights Civic Association. Dovefield Farms Landowners Association. Eastwood Villa Homeowners Association. Garden District Preservation Association. Greater McGee Estates Homeowners Association. And I know that we may not have a representative. Okay. Halcyon Oaks Homeowners Association. Anyone from Halcyon Oaks? Jones Road Neighborhood Association. Lake Ridge Neighborhood and Road Association. Mobile Heights Neighborhood Association. Old Cloverdale Association. Seth Johnson Neighborhood Association.
Congratulations.
Westview Gardens Community Association.
Good job.
The Greater Bell Road Neighborhood Association. And that could be another group that couldn't attend. And then do we have anyone from the Dillard Estates Homeowner Association? Come on up. And council, if y'all can stand up behind our representatives tonight, we'll take a quick group photo. Just look at Adoria, and we'll do that.
Again, we want to thank all of the neighborhood associations who, again, help us out in the community every day. And we know that not everyone can be awarded a grant, but there's a lot of great work that goes on in the community. And we really thank you all for accentuating the positive that happens in this city, because you all make it happen. So thank you so much again. Now, at this time, we'll go right to the executive summary. And we'll see some slides that will be reflecting our revenue streams and how they're trending in the city for sales and use taxes, lodging tax, gasoline tax, and the alcohol and beverage tax. The sales and use tax is still trending up year over year, which is very positive for us. As it relates to the anomaly for collections in December and January, it appears that the collection of sales and use taxes are back on track. Payments are coming in timelier than they were in the aforementioned period to the city's lockbox. Year over year, the sales and use taxes are reflecting a positive growth of slightly more than 8%. Next slide, please. About a year ago, I mentioned that I expected lodging tax revenue to rebound by the end of the fiscal year. Lodging tax did rebound and has come back to its pre-pandemic level, and the growth rate is indicative of tourism definitely coming back to the city. Although there was some decline in lodging tax from February to March in the current year, the increase of nearly 57% over the same period in FY 2021 is significant. The positive growth rate year over year is nearly 51%. That is great news for us. Next slide, please. The gasoline tax revenue had a smaller growth rate in March compared to the previous month. With spring being here and the weather becoming more conducive for travel and outdoor activities, the gasoline tax revenue, we hope, will continue to grow. However, we certainly understand that the price of gas significantly weighing on the decisions that people make in their daily commutes as well as their leisure time as well. However, whereas we were looking at a negative growth rate a couple of months ago, the year-over-year growth rate for this revenue stream is now over 5%, which is still better than expected. Final slide. The alcoholic and beverage tax revenue grew significantly in March compared to the previous year during the same period. Although the overall growth rate is negative in the current year due to the significant decline in January, I do expect that this revenue stream will have a positive growth rate before the end of the fiscal year. The city has collected approximately 93% of ad valorem tax revenue and nearly 90% of business license revenue that were budgeted in the current fiscal year. So we accept this for where it is, and obviously we're looking forward to a positive spring as April is now upon us. So thank you so much, Mr. President. That concludes my message.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. We have a special guest tonight. Angela Gomez is our Distinguished Young Woman of the Year. I'd like to bring her forward now for a picture. And Mayor. Angela's a student at Catholic High School. Okay, Dr. White, you're here from Alabama State to talk to us. I believe you're on our agenda here. Ms. Graham, you? Okay. And he has somebody with him? Yeah, I think somebody from another name there. Andrew Williams.
I'd like to say good evening to Chairman Jim Wright and to the council, to our honorable mayor, Mayor Reed. I come to you on behalf of citizens in Montgomery that really want to boost the use of technology in teaching. And I'm a pastor. I pastor Montgomery City of Refuge that's located 3820 Woodley Road. And we are hosting what we call a high-tech summer academy. And what we're doing is we're bringing in gamers, we're bringing in researchers, we're bringing in people that are well-versed in technology to teach young people how to do some of the latest forms of technological advancement, like metaverse, avatar, droning, GPS, and so forth. And we're going to do it the second, third, and fourth weeks in the month of June. And we wanted to come before you this evening just to let you know what we were doing. You all passed a resolution last time I was here acknowledging Highway 80 as being a virtual heritage corridor, and I want to thank you for that. And so the next step would be to begin to teach young people the latest forms of technology. So the way we've designed the academy based on the people who are sponsoring it, we have slots for 30 teenagers, and what we're going to do is we're going to teach them very intensively about the latest technology that they can use, to build their career, to build their education, and to build their community. And so if you have any questions, or if you have teenagers that you would like to sign up, because we would hope this model would take over, and other people could begin to do it and reproduce it. Mayor, at the community centers, we could modernize the community centers to be places to where teenagers and young people could go to learn technology and those types of things. So we're hoping this becomes kind of like a pilot program and a model for other churches and other organizations to grab hold to, because when we're all on the same technological page, we're able to advance as a community. So I want to thank you all for allowing me to come. I'll share my updates with you. I had a video I wanted to show, but that's just an excuse to come back next time and to give you updates. So thank you all so much.
Thank you so much. Appreciate
Dr.
it.
White, how is it that the youth can sign up?
Well, you can go to my church's website, which is coralive.org, and you go under ministries and just click, and then the application screen will show up. Just apply, we'll review it, and we'll respond. There's a place where you can put your email, and we'll respond. We've already got about 15 slots filled, so if we have to enlarge it, we would. If you all want to help, you can. And we also have, if you don't want to, contribute or can't contribute to a church, we also have a nonprofit wing to it, to where you can donate that way.
Okay.
All right.
Mr. President, I have one question. Dr. White, and I know it's the second, third week in June, and I don't know if Mr. Card is here, but as we go forward, when we talk about expanding this program with some of our summer enrichment programs that we're doing as the city of Montgomery, if you can kind of partner up with Mr. Card on some of that stuff you talked about community centers and how we can work that moving forward.
Absolutely. We have one of the top designers with us, Andre Williams, and he's here. Andre, just wave your hand. He's designed these for school systems and for governments and, for private entities as well. He's an expert on it. So he's working with us, and we'd love to work with you any way we can.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Thank you so
Dr.
much.
White.
All right. Thank you.
Ms. Graham?
Okay. We have some members from District 4. Would you please come up? All of the community members from District 4 who is here tonight, whether you're speaking or not, and you're here, please come up. thank you all for coming out. Mayor, we are here, and council, we are here because District 4 has raised several questions to me and issues from the very beginning. And we're at a place in the time now that we just kind of want to know where we are. When election season was in 2019, we had a forum in West Montgomery, and one of the issues and topics that we talked about was being mayor and council for the city, not just for certain areas, but West Montgomery has been overlooked for so many years. Amen. And we're still waiting for someone to show up and tell us we're not overlooked. So they have just a couple of the community members want to speak on a few issues, just a couple, and to just talk to you, Mayor, and just tell you where we are. I mean, I've shared it. It won't be anything new to you. You've heard it before. But I think sometimes they think I'm not sharing it with you. And so I wanted them to have an opportunity to share it with you as well so that you can know this is not me talking, this is District 4 talking. And I know we don't have the whole District 4, but I think we got a good representation here tonight. So whoever is going to speak, just come on up a couple minutes, maybe. Is that right, Ms. Blaylock?
Whatever y'all decide, because this is not
Okay.
a public hearing, y'all. Do you
Okay.
want me to time it? or-
Okay.
Okay. Good evening, Council,
evening.
Mayor. I'm Mr. McQueen, Roger McQueen, and I'm representing the Hunter Station community. I'm addressing this for Hunter Station community. I'm gonna make it quick as possible. And the people in the neighborhood was asking me to speak behalf of drainage problems. Speak in the behalf of Hunter Station community for sewage. No sewage. We got part of the community there. As we know, since 1999, I've been coming down here speaking about getting sewage for the Hunter Station community. Half of the community has sewage and half of the community is still on the septic tank. But we still getting bills on our bill every month for paying for sewage. But what we're trying to do is, as we get funded for our community, why can't we use that money for the community for sewage or drainage? Now, for us, the drainage, this is the time since we had the big rain today for any of the city leaders to drive out to those communities like Hunter Station and see that it's underwater today. Not tomorrow, not 311 on standby when we call. This need to be done today. Like, take a ride out to Hunter Station and look how the water is surrounding the houses out there because we don't have proper drainage. When we get that money that's funded to Montgomery, don't leave District 4 out. You know, and I'm speaking not only for just my house, but for the district of 4. And city councilman, she's aware of it. And we want to make it known for the city councilmen to look. Don't forget about the community of the people. Once we get those funds in, District 4 need to be given their part of the cut for us keeping our community up. We thank you all for paving the road out there, Honolulu Road. That was a great deal. But there's still some more money missing that I was told that we should have been getting to help get our community upgraded, sewage, and drainage. That's what the people are coming to me about. And I'm coming to my city councilman about it. But we don't want to just, we got a few people here now, but if we can't get something done soon, we're going to have a house full. The whole community is going to be coming down here. Because they coming to me, and I'm bringing it to my councilman, and now this is the time to bring it to the city councilman, the mayor, and everybody else. So if you can, think about it. Hear me out, and let's take a look at these people. Because there's no, if you go out tomorrow and take a look, you'll see how these people's houses is surrounded by water, where they got to put on rubber boots to get to their front door. So think about it seriously, that we need to get drainage out there, sewage out there. So if anybody else want to come up and speak,
Mr.
you know, I'm
McQueen.
gonna let them have the floor too. But
That's it. Okay, thank you.
Mr.
Thank you.
McQueen, Mr. McQueen.
Yes.
I have a question.
yes, sir.
Do y'all pay your full property tax?
Yes.
Y'all don't get a discount for not having sewer?
No, sir. No,
We-
sir. Not to my knowledge.
Mr. Jenwright, I know that
Well, there was,
we have done that in the past with neighborhoods, i.e. the neighborhood on Bell Road that you're familiar with, Harness Hill, that if you do not receive all 7 city services, then
property
therefore
tax,
you should not pay the whole full property tax. And I don't know how that deal was structured.
we need to check that.
But
That was
since they
under
don't
the
have
Greater
sewer, but,
Montgomery
you know,
Act.
it's, ma'am?
That was under the Greater Montgomery Act. when
You
they
know,
squared up the
1980.
city, and there were 7 city services that.
Right,
that were brought
lights,
in the-
curb and gutter.
And if those, the ones that were annexed in that ordinance, if they did not receive all 7 city services, if they did not receive 5 of the 7, they did not have to pay ad valorem tax.
Do y'all have curb and gutter?
No, sir.
Well, let me ask you this, can that act be amended? Until they receive it, can that act?
I have a question. Was it just certain neighborhoods under that act?
It was what was in the legal description, like when y'all do the redistricting with the legal descriptions, it was an act that was done by the legislature. And,
In the 80s, isn't it, 1980?
And we quit doing it when Howard Mandel was the city attorney. They quit putting that stipulation in the ordinance that they wouldn't have to pay ad valorem tax.
No, we did it in Charlie, we did it in the, 05, 06 range in Harness Hill.
Yeah, but yeah.
Okay,
I
well,
don't
with
think
the,
they
yeah.
were paying, were they?
Sir?
They weren't paying them, were they?
No, they were paying. They were paying, and they went
Yeah,
back and
some-
gave them
yeah.
some sort of
You need to
discount.
check those out and see what that law is. I forgot what, I wasn't here when that law was in place.
Yes, you were. You probably wrote it.
Okay, so Mr. Pruitt,
Yes,
my
sir.
question is, what you just asked me,
Yes, sir.
what can we go from here? What kind of help can we get?
I'll get with
The
Au-
people.
I don't even think
I think-
Audrey was aware of it, but
I
I'll
wasn't.
get,
But
I'll
Brenda,
get,
what Brenda just, Mr. President, she just said it was enabled by the state legislature.
I can't hear.
Was, I think my mic is off. It was enacted by the state legislature.
It was yes, it was a legislative act. It was called the Greater Montgomery Act, and I can provide y'all with a copy of it.
Yeah.
please, but even though the legislature did it, why can we not create an act and do part of the
Because if we did it in '05, you know, and it was done in the '80s, then it's been implemented since then.
it was
We
in
can
that
go
time
through it.
period. But that may have been one of the neighborhoods that was created in that act. I don't know the answer, but I'll get with Audrey and help her try to
Y'all
figure
do
it
that.
out.
We'll look
Y'all
at
do
that.
Okay? Thank
Oh,
you.
yeah, okay, that'll be good, but even though some of the people might be under the neighborhood association, you know, or something like this in the community, but still, it's new to me. But if it can help out the people any kind of way, I would like to know, you know,
Yes,
let us
sir.
know.
Yes, sir. I'll
you can
come
let
back
us
to
know.
you. I'll
Figure it out.
investigate that.
Okay.
But
Yes, sir.
Okay,
so do
thank
you want to hear anybody else speak
Uh,
from the district?
Okay,
We're
come
running
on
out.
up.
Okay.
Running time.
Hi, I'm Anita Martin. This is the Old Seven Road community. We've been fighting for drainage and also sewage. We've been fighting for this as long as, we used to have Mark Gilmore. He used to be our councilman. We've been fighting for this ever since he was councilman. We need help. If anyone can help us, please.
Okay.
Not only Westview Garden, but it's, anybody in the community? It's up here.
They don't?
We got 1,200 homes. Yeah,
Westview
y'all
Garden,
open this
Old Seven Road,
big can of
Station.
worms here, folks.
And Ashland
Ashland Road.
We want to open them up?
came in, so Ashland.
Mayor Reed, City Council members. My name is Lerner Martin. I stay off the old Sylvan Road. Now, you don't have to go to Hunter Station to see all the water. We have a drainage problem, and we own separate tanks. We've been fighting for this for years, for decades, actually. And then, like, we don't get any help from anybody. I mean, back in the day, like my wife said, Mark Gilmore, and some more council members, Mr. Hall, and we've been doing this battle for years. And every time we'll bring up this issue, it always goes back to we don't have any money. Now we have the money from this act from the federal government. I mean, what do we get out of this act? What kind of money do we receive? Old 7 Road, we don't get any help from anybody. I mean, you come down there, you fill some potholes, you might pave some roads, but we have bigger issues than what you're doing. So we need to look into, we are in the city limit. Then you need to look into if we're in the city limit, we should get all the services that on the east side get, And it's like you, Mr. Pruitt, you just said, the 7 services, we get 6 of them, all but sewage. So why don't we get sewage down that way? Since I've been living down here off the Gaddis Court region, I have put in 3 septic tanks. And those things are expensive. I mean, this money is not installment money. I mean, this is money up front. Now, that money is really hurting my family and hurting myself. Now, we getting this money, like I said, from the federal government. We need to put some of that money into our community, in the west side community, down Old 7 Road, and also Westview Garden, like he just said, and Hunter Station. We need help. Do not leave us out with this money, because the money, I've been reading, been following the news, this money is for like broadband, sewage, and water. And we have 2 of those issues, big issues, sewage and the drainage system. Just like Mr. I forgot his name. He was up here, the guy before me. He stated now that water backing up, you can go down there, you can see the water backing up. Just ride down Old 7 Road, you can see water backing up in neighborhoods, front yard, and backyard. We need help. When the water back up, the sewage, well, not sewage, the septic tank, they don't work like they should be working. So look, we need some help from the city council and maybe from the county.
Yes.
I thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else want to talk about anything other than sewer and septic? Because we can't let everybody talk because
We got a full night.
we got a full
Okay,
night.
one more and that's it. Okay.
I'm here to talk about economics. First off, thank you, Council, for allowing all of us to be here tonight to speak on the issues in District 4. I want to say, and I could be wrong on my dates, 50, 60, 70 years ago, when I-85 and I-65 split this city up, it created 2 Montgomerys. You have East Montgomery, which has flourished since the creation of the interstate. We have East Chase. We have all the Biscuit Stadium, the EJI memorials. What does District 4 have outside of looking at the back door of Maxwell Air Force Base? Absolutely nothing. The only economic retail that has come to our area was a Dollar General. And not even that provides enough food for many starving families in our area. While many parts of the city are getting these neighborhood Walmarts going into Chisholm, Vaughn Road, Winton Lakes, all this, what is Montgomery getting? We're getting the shaft. Back in the late 90s, early 2000s, there was a plan for the city called Envision 2020. Many of you on this council was here and voted in support of that. All that is done for Vision 2020 has lined the pockets of many of you who are no longer on this board or in power within the city, but there's many within the city who put that plan together and they neglected West Montgomery. We were told for the last 35 years about keys to the city being the boulevard. Well, the boulevard under that plan stopped right there at the TA truck stop. In the past 5 years with Maxwell Air Force Base, all the revitalization we're doing to bring this whitewater park to the city, all you're doing is you're building a magic kingdom that overlooks a landfill. When you look at the blight that's around this water park, and you're shuffling everybody into Maxwell off of Heron Street through downtown, ignoring Kelly Street and Air Base Boulevard, which has become blighted more and more since that main gate was closed. And let me tell you this, how many of you on this council would bring people to the city, drive them down Air Base Boulevard and say you are proud to be in Montgomery, Alabama, at the number of dilapidated homes, businesses boarded up, drugs, litter, everything that goes on Air Base Boulevard? How can you honestly, with a straight face, tell people that you're proud to represent Montgomery the way this looks, and proud to go home and sleep at night knowing that the citizens of West Montgomery, of Old Summer Road, Westview Gardens, and all Hunter Station, we're spending our money in Prattville, in Millbrook, instead of you wanting us to spend money in Montgomery, but you tax the living hell out of us for stuff that we're not getting, while our tax dollars are going to other counties and cities instead of staying here where it belongs in Montgomery.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
I need your name for the record.
Mr. Davenport,
I need his name for the record.
she wants your name for the record.
My name is Jason Davenport. I live in Westview Gardens off Patrick Road and Warbler Drive.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
Can I address?
Yes, sir, Mayor.
Take a short
Comment.
Yeah. First of all, I want to thank everybody for coming down here for their passion about West Montgomery. There are a couple of things that you brought up that as recently as today have been discussed. Number one, I'll start with the water and sewer. The water and sewer is an issue that we're trying to work out with our water authority to make the necessary requests from the state. The Alabama Department of Environmental Management, ADEM is the name, so that we can be in the queue potentially for additional state dollars. State dollars for infrastructure have not been allocated yet. The governor just moved, I think about $225 million dedicated for water and sewer. The council itself cannot request that dollars. We can pass a resolution. I can write a letter. The water authority has to request that and ultimately has to vote to apply for that loan or for that grant. So we are going to meet with Director Hannon, myself, and City Council President Pro Tem talked about this last week. So that is a high priority here at the state level. I'll also say that our state representative, Kenyatta House, has educated me on some things that we had not done as well as a city that we need to do from our end to put not only West Montgomery, Old Summer Road, and other parts of Hunter Station, but also Macedonia and even Madison Park and other cities, other parts of the city in place for these grants and for the funds. So what we're doing I hope, I'm not speaking out of turn, but hopefully we'll agree that from the American Rescue Plan Act dollars, that we can use that for the environmental plan. There has not been an environmental plan done for water and sewer in these neighborhoods in years and in some cases decades. So that money that we have for the American Rescue Plan Act, we cannot go to ADEM without the plan and the study. So we have to do that first and then show them where there's disconnection, show them how many houses are on septic, how many residents are without water and sewer, and in the same process, we're applying for those grants. I'll also share with you that when the EPA director, Michael Regan, came for the Selma Montgomery March, Old Summer Road was one of the neighborhoods that I mentioned, along with Madison Park and Macedonia in particular, that needed help from the Environmental Protection Agency. He pointed me to local funds that we should contact Congresswoman Sewell about and Congressman Moore about as well. So we're also in the process of doing that. So the neighborhoods are on the federal and state radar, which allocates the money. The general fund would not allow us to, we don't have the money out of the general fund to do that at this point, but we have a windfall of federal dollars that's specifically designed for infrastructure. So water and sewer is at the top of that because we think that's a basic function that we ought to be able to provide for all of our city residents. And we shared that both at the state and at the federal level with those that are in the pipeline for making those decisions. I also brought it up to our finance director for the state, Bill Poole, last Monday at our meeting of the Big Ten mayors. So know that that process is in play. Unfortunately, this is not a process that started overnight, and it's not one that will be solved overnight. I would love to be able to tell everyone in these respective neighborhoods that we can connect you to water and sewer in the next 18 months. Our goal is to make sure that we are transparent and honest with you about where we are in the process and what things we have to do. And we have to be more proactive as opposed to reactive as it relates to issues like this. At the next meeting, I'll have an update surrounding broadband. That's also a major issue which becomes an economic component as well as an educational impediment in this city to some of these same neighborhoods that don't have access to high-speed internet. I'll mention that in the next mayor's message. I also want to speak to the West Montgomery, and the gentleman spoke about economic development. This Saturday, Planning Director Robert Smith and I talked about launching a West Montgomery tour. On Monday, I told my Chief of Staff, Chip Hill, and our CAO, Jamala Filyal, that we were going to have a West Montgomery site tour. No different than we have for industrial sites. We want to identify to developers where those sites are that we think are prime for home and residential development. Usually you probably would have seen this in a press release because I like to dot my I's and cross my T's, but since we're talking about it, I don't mind addressing it, and you'll see the press release later. You're just getting a preview of it. So we'll have that West Montgomery press tour, which will take our Chamber of Commerce, economic development professionals, as well as experts to talk about areas of land that the city owns and areas of land that potentially we would like to redevelop. From Highway 80 to Old Selma Road and Highway 31 to I-65 and West-South Boulevard to Fairview. So all of that, all the way going up to, as the gentleman mentioned, to Maxwell, are places that we want to highlight for developers who are used to and comfortable with developing in urban communities, in particular those that are underserved and underinvested in. And some of them are here, some of them are from out of town. And so that's what we plan to do within the next month. And so your economic fortunes are very clear to me. County Commissioner Elton Dean at our last meeting that I had with him spoke about exactly what he said about residents going up I-65 and going to Autauga and Elmore County to shop and to spend their dollars as opposed to going out to East Montgomery. So I know that has been something that's been on the radar for many of our council members, even prior to my becoming mayor, and it's something that's at the top of my list as well. But what you find out is not everyone wants to invest in certain neighborhoods, so we have gone out to recruit those partners and those investors that are comfortable and that are really have a purpose about investing in particular in poor communities and communities of color. And not everyone wants to do that, but there are those investors and developers that are very comfortable and very interested in doing that, in Montgomery and I-65 and West Montgomery very high on their list. And when we tell them some of the projects that our community development is doing right now around housing and residential areas, they're excited, whether that's Oak Street or whether that's the Peacock Track, they're excited about that. And so there are some things in the works. It's just unfortunate for us that COVID has preempted a lot of those things for the last 2 years in terms of the flow of money. And so now what we're trying to do is kind of restart and reshape the focus for many of those in the private sector around what can be done in West Montgomery to make sure there's equity in that investment and to make sure there's equity and opportunity around our entire city. So I hear your complaints, I hear your issues and concerns. I take them at face value. I think they're very valid. And I think that your being here shows that you're committed not only to your streets and your neighborhood and your community, but the city. And I take it as a positive that you're here, and I hope that you'll take it as a positive, the work that you'll see coming in the weeks and months to come. Thanks, Mr. President.
Well, and let me say, hold on.
Yes, sir.
I just don't want Montgomery, West Montgomery, to end up being on news, world news, like Lyon County was,
Yep.
where we got sewage coming up out the ground. And Montgomery's a big city.
That's right.
We just don't want to see that happen to Montgomery and our neighborhood.
Yes, sir.
Because that's what's going to happen, because when the water comes up so high like that, the sewage start coming up out the ground.
Yes, sir.
We don't want to see that happen. Out here,
I agree.
you know, I would say.
Okay.
I agree. Yes, sir.
We got to move on.
Okay, wait, before we move on, thank you all for coming. Let me say that. Let me say this also, Mayor, in just response to what you said. The plan and study has been done already for West Montgomery. Even the 2040 plan is a plan that we can use to apply for some of these grants. I had that conversation because I talked to our grants writer because I remember when she was first brought in, she had a map and stopped me and told me that West Montgomery was red and that there was several funding that was out there for West Montgomery, but I don't know where they went to, but they never made it to West Montgomery.
So that's not for
But hold on one second, Mayor. So there is a plan done. We don't have to do a plan. We have had it done. The study has been done. I have it. Your department has it. The water board have it. There is a plan done. Also, there are other things, though, that we need to talk about. There were grants that were given for cameras and shot spotters with the MPD when we did that $50 million bond. You know, I hadn't seen anything to say any of that, those cameras or shot spotters going in West Montgomery. I don't know who's seen where they're going, and it doesn't matter to me who's seen it. I haven't seen it. So I can't say that you're doing anything when it comes to the policing and safety in our community. And my community keep asking me for cameras. We only got 6 cameras out of that $20 million. When I heard another counselor say to me that she got 6, or say to me that there was 6 cameras put in one neighborhood, I know that it didn't go all over the city the same way. It went differently. Some areas got a little more than others. West Montgomery should not be left out. We are left out. I get what you're saying, but it is clear we are not getting the same access as everybody else, and we're tired of it. When there's no way you, me, or anybody else going to run for something and leave out West Montgomery. You're going to need every vote in West Montgomery, and they want to feel like they are part of what's going on, the growth in the city of Montgomery, and we do not feel that. We need to feel it. So I appreciate what you're saying. I take nothing from it. Thank you for your efforts. Thank you for what you're going to do to look in for us. But just know we're looking for our mayor. When they ran for mayor in 2019, we asked the question, will you be a mayor of the city, not just of East Montgomery, but will you also be a mayor of West Montgomery? We need our mayor to show up. And we just feel like we haven't had that yet.
Mayor. My name is Sherry Bradley. I'm the Director of the Bureau of Environmental Services with the Department of Public Health. I've been there for 44 years, been Director for 8, and I'm the one that's been down in Lowndes County working, so I feel you. But the mayor is right about the plan that ADM is asking for. I've been meeting with ADM a lot, and the plan you're talking about is totally different than what he's talking about.
Okay.
Now, a friend asked me to go out and look at the area, and I did. This is the problem. You have homes that's been there for 40, 50 years. A septic tank will last, if you take care of it, about 50 years. But the soil after that locks up. When that neighborhood was built, our rules did not cover 100% expansion. In other words, you have an area for your septic tank, but if it fails, you have to show another area that you can put a second one. The majority of the homes don't have 100% expansion. So what they're saying is, once those tanks stop working, that's it, the soil is locked. You can't get it unlocked. Even if you take care of it the best you can. However, funding is actually here. And the mayor is right. Every step he said was right in what he has to submit. Montgomery, I'm sure is getting their fair share, but it's not going to be enough for everybody. I'll be working in Lowndes County with what I have and the Black Belt County, which is about 17 of them. It won't cover everything. But I just want to say that they don't have a choice. There's not an expansion area in a lot of the homes. Now, one gentleman said he put in 3 tanks. When they first, in 40 years ago, you could get a tank for $3,000. But an engineered design system now is $25,000. It's $25,000. Easy. A conventional system is about $7,000 easy. So that's where they are. And I just want to say that. And I got to run.
Thank you.
Okay, thank y'all for being here.
Hey, Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
Mayor, can I just ask you a question? Mayor, do you know how many neighborhoods we have, or homes, or whatever, without sewer in Montgomery?
I do not know. Some of the other guys may know. 1,100?
I got it.
Amy Benefield.
I got it. I got it.
Amy Benefield did all of that research. I was meeting
1,200.
with Philip Ensler in the mayor's office, and we were meeting like every month on the phone, doing Zooms with the water board and all of these with Catherine Flowers, and we was researching this and we were getting stuff together. So we know she has identified every community in the city of Montgomery, and so we have all of that identified.
Mayor, one more quick question. If the board, if the Waterworks Board does not receive that grant, do we have enough COVID money, relief money, to do that?
Let me just say this about the rescue money, COVID money. We're working on it right now to find out how much money they do have to address. It's 1,200 homes in Montgomery city limits that do not have sewage.
And I don't know how it's broken down. Y'all been to a bunch of meetings. I got to
Yeah.
work sometimes. But Mayor, my vote is that we do those 1,200 homes before we build a ballpark or whatever we want to do.
It's not enough money.
It ain't enough
That
money.
40 million is not enough.
not
But
enough.
I do say this, that now we've committed, the mayor has said to Madison Park that we commit $6 million, of the money to them. I don't have a problem with that. They need it just like we do. I don't have a problem with that, but commit something, to West Montgomery too. Let's not just choose one community and say we'll give you something, but we're not giving anything to any the other communities, even if it's just to work on the water drainage. Because like he said, when the yards flood out, then that sewer septic tank doesn't function properly. But if we can work on the water drainage, which is less as expensive as the sewer systems, that does help the community some until we can come up with the rest of the money. So any kind of way the city of Montgomery can start working with them, just like we're going to work with Madison Park. I don't want us not to work with West Montgomery. I want us to work there too.
Mr. President, can I state that
Yes, ma'am.
when I was in D.C., I said to you all that I had a whole lot of grant information that I had learned about that we could apply for. Luckily, Ms. Porter was there. But here in April, Mayor, I don't know if they've announced it yet, but HUD has a program called Healthy Homes Production Program, where they'll help with funding pipes and laying, if it's lead, if it's anything that's like the cast iron lead, the pipes that go into the homes, which majority of our homes were built with, they'll do that replacement, and it's funding coming down. They have about 10 million that'll come directly to the state of Alabama, and because we're a qualified census tract, my understanding, that it could come directly to the city of Montgomery if we apply for it, along with a grant called Justice 40 and the Connecting Communities Initiative, which is money that it talked about I-65 and I-85, how that corridor stripped a lot of the black communities. Well, this money is coming from President Biden, where he's trying to give this money back into the communities and reinvest in the communities that have not been invested in and that has lost so much. So this Justice 40 and Connecting Communities, I know that Ms. Porter is looking into it. So this will be really beneficial for West Montgomery and North Montgomery because we both sit out that corridor. But I think that this money, in addition to the ARPA funds, is what really will help us, and it'll come directly to the city.
Okay, thank you very much for the information. Okay, the fire department has a special presentation to us. I see you're looking good back there, man. No, he's not going to do this.
They took them out to next week. They wanted to bring the whole
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Chief.
We have some great news to announce to the council and to the mayor. And before I begin, I want to thank you, Mayor, and the council for your support for getting here. For the past 5 years, we've been working on accreditation. It's a long process. The last 2.5 years under Mayor Reed, we've been on warp speed. And your support, I think back in November, you passed a strategic plan to get us to the next level. The mayor came over to support us with some other items that we need a little funding. So today we want to announce that we are one of 300 agencies in the whole world that's accredited. We are 114th probably of agency in the whole world that is ISO 1 and accredited. And we are the first and only metro department in the state of Alabama that is accredited in ISO 1. So we have a short video. We have a short video that we would like to share with you. We're going to push it out on our social media platform and share it with the citizens. But we want to show it to you guys today. And it also give you an example of what these staff members, these are all chief officers, along with a lot of other folks, for the last 5 years have been working very, very hard. They've been under a lot of pressure. I am demanding, they tell me that every day, but it's all for the citizens of Montgomery. So we can play our video. Take a look around at the operations. I don't have any doubt that you'll come away impressed. I don't have any doubt that you'll come away sharing your experience here as a blueprint of what fire and rescue departments should look like regardless of that. They are competitors. They have a high standard themselves, and so you don't have to motivate them. You don't have to try to encourage them to do better. They're looking for ways to try to separate themselves from other reservoirs to do that. And so on behalf of the city of Montgomery, the residents, city council, I want to thank you all again for let us know how we can support you, and let us know if there's anything you need from the mayor's office. Don't hesitate to reach out. Chief, if they have any questions, let me know as well, and we'll make sure to follow up. You need a sit-down. I can't wait to see the grade. I can't wait to have the press conference, the press release announcing just how selective a group this is that you see right before you, and that are out there in our fire stations throughout the city. So thank you so much, and I hope you have a great day. Take care.
Thank you. There's a reason why they call us peer assessors, because we're peers. We've been assigned different categories, and you all have fielded questions or comments on the documents that you helped prepare electronically. So one since the beginning of this process back in the late 90s. So this is fantastic to have this kind of team involved. So this is great, and it's a testament, I think, to the way that you've put this process to work for you and for Montgomery Fire Rescue. So applause and kudos for that. And the history of what got you here. Category 2 is assessment and planning, standards of cover, risk assessment. Category 4 is financial resources. How do you get the money to do what it is you do? How do you handle money? All those kinds of. Category 11, which is firefighter health and safety. We want to make sure that a credible agency is monitoring, providing for handling the workforce in a way that keeps them as safe and healthy as possible. Already validated the fact that you've completed the work necessary for us to be here. But for you to do it at this point in your career and the agency's career is a testament to your leadership.
Before us today, Montgomery Fire Rescue, Montgomery, Alabama, and we'll turn it over to Team Leader Jim White.
With me today, representing Montgomery, Alabama, the great state of Alabama, the capital city of the great state of Alabama. You might hear a roll tide in there at least one time from the chief. I'll go ahead and say that, Chief, while you're. I said earlier in my comments that this was their first time through the accreditation process. And with the number of site visits that I've had the privilege of being involved with, I don't know that I've ever had an agency be as well prepared as this agency was, both with their staff, with all of their personnel, with their community, with their leadership team, which you see before you, with their documents. And if you've heard me teach the classes that we do for accreditation, I'm kind of the methodology person. I spend a lot of time making sure that the agencies know that that's an integral part of making this process work, not only for their first time, but ongoing. And they got an A+ in methodology. I've never seen anything like what they've been able to employ in their agency with regards to taking this process and making it the way they do business. So they're to be applauded for their work that they accomplished with that. A couple other things just to point out in the report you may have seen. Some extremely positive things other than, of course, their methodology and use of the process. I heard it mentioned earlier in one of the agencies, and I always, too, share a concern about multi-tiered process. While they're experiencing a 2-tier process in Montgomery, I would probably qualify it as a 1.5 tier process. This may be the best community in the country that's prepared to take over the EMS transport service in their community that they currently don't do. They have transport units staffed in their stations, their systems are in place, and I think it would take a phone call to say, hey, you're now the provider. So they are extremely well prepared for that, to the point that the community designated them as basically the tip of the spear for their COVID response for their community. They were responsible for sites and vaccination sites and testing sites throughout Montgomery. So it goes to say that this agency is extremely prepared for that level of service that they would provide. At this point, I want to turn it over to the chief and let him introduce his team.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, and to the other members that makes up this great commission. I am Chief Milford Jordan, and I'm here representing the city of Montgomery, Alabama, the 57th mayor, Mayor Stephen L. Reed, and the 9 council members that govern our great city. We would like to thank the commission for this opportunity to be present before you today, representing Montgomery Fire and Rescue, and to answer all of your questions that you may have about our blessed organization. Chief White and his team made recommendations that we immediately start to work on and will continue to work on to ensure quality improvement for Montgomery Fire and Rescue, which will allow us to be more efficient in protecting the citizens of Montgomery.
More information on any improvement or any cooperation you've seen there?
Absolutely, sir. I'd like to ask Chief Carr. He has more detailed information.
Sure. On the Communications Center, we've established biannual meetings with our Director of Communications. The Communications Department is a separate entity from the Fire Department, but it's still within the city and county. They more than willing to help us. They understand that they have problems just like everyone else with turnover and training new personnel we've placed in our strategic plan, and they're going to ensure that they're kind of in line with us over the next 5 years.
Recommendation number 11 related to the second set of turnout gear and where you are in that particular process.
We received 150 sets of gear. We have another 150 sets of gear that's on order currently. And our budget process starts in May, which we plan to add another 150 to 200 sets to that.
Another 150 coming. Have they all been factored into expirations moving forward? Is there a plan, a continuity plan for right sizing and replacement plan?
Absolutely, sir. That's all factored in.
Sure.
Per the NFPA standards.
Right.
We have factored all that into it.
not digging into the weeds, but when I look at your timetables, and just very interested, I've never seen this before, so that's why I'm asking the question. Can you explain your process and the rationale how you came up with those benchmark numbers?
So we, in determining these benchmarks, we wanted it to be achievable and measurable. So what we did, we just did a 10% increase, and we will adjust it as needed over the next year and do an appraisal on our annual report and see if those benchmarks need adjusting. But we just went off a 10% margin.
Perfect, yeah. It was just a different way, and I was wondering how you calculated it, so I appreciate that. Seeing no discussion, congratulations, Montgomery.
Thank you very much. Like I said, this was a long process, and these gentlemen back here, along with a lot of other folks, worked very hard over the last 5 years and the last 2.5 years. Under this administration, we've been on warp speed with this all green grass in front of us. So I'm glad and proud to be able to bring this to our city. So thank you very much. I would like to get a picture with the council and the mayor. Come on,
You know, I heard that in that thing. That's what I took away from work. Okay. Hey. You see John?
One more.
Uno más. Moving like you're gonna go to the PT test. You going to the PT test? You got no gun. Hey, Chief. You see John King out there? Tell him I called him mail there.
Okay, let's see where we're at now. Glenn, you had a special committee report. I think you've already handled that.
Yes, sir, I have.
Okay.
So you don't want to do it in council meeting? No, we got it.
Okay, we'll be calling on people on the agenda as we go, but item number 1.
Mr. President, item 1, hearing on proposed ordinance rezoning one lot located on the north side of West 2nd Street, approximately 300 feet east of Forest Avenue, from an
Sonia.
O1 district to a B1D.
Okay. Tanya?
Yes, sir, they want to rezone this property for a mixed use for commercial and residential. Planning Commission recommended approval unanimously.
This is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, I declare the public hearing's been held. It's brought before the council. Need a motion? This,
Clay, that's you.
Marcia,
Motion to suspend the rules?
we just need a motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous, ordinance is adopted. Item 2, hearing on proposed ordinance rezoning one parcel of land containing 2.12 acres located on the west side of Watson Circle, 400 feet south of Atlanta Highway from a B3 to an R100.
This is currently a commercial property. They're wanting to rezone it to single-family residential. Planning Commission recommended unanimous approval.
Okay, yes. All right, this is a public hearing. Anyone would like to speak against this item, please come forward. Item 2.
She's speaking against it.
Are you with the, you own this piece of property? Okay. You don't want to speak against it, then, do you? You're for this piece of property, right?
I need her name.
Your name?
Lena what?
Speaking to the mic again.
The mic on?
There.
Okay.
Lena Costanza.
Okay, Lena. Okay, good deal. All right. Thank you. I declare the public hearing's been held. It's brought before the council. Need a motion?
Motion to adopt.
Have a motion to adopt. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous, ordinance is adopted.
Good luck. Thank you, ma'am.
Item 3, hearing on proposed ordinance rezoning one parcel of land containing 5.6 acres located on the east side of Mobile Highway, 600 feet south of Coca-Cola Road from an Ag 1 to an M1 district.
Sonia?
This is going to be rezoned for a convenience store. The Planning Commission recommended approval unanimously.
Okay. This is a public hearing. If you'd like to speak against this item, please come forward.
The representative here?
Mr. Patel's here. I've got, Mr. Patel, you want to come forward?
Who is it?
Mr. Patel, oh, you okay.
Got
Ed?
it.
Ed, you can come represent it. You got any council, you got any questions of Mr. Patel?
Yes.
Y'all got any questions?
Yeah, what's the plans on the rezoning? What we planning on doing? What are your plans?
It's going to be a service station, a convenience store.
Okay.
Convenience store.
Thank you.
Very good, okay. I declare the public hearing's been held. It's brought before the council. Need a motion?
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous, ordinance is adopted.
Good luck with the business.
Right, Mr. Fleming.
Item 4, ordinance amending Chapter 4 of the Code of Ordinances regarding animal control.
Okay. Everybody that signed up to speak on this item, please stand up. Okay. I have received, I believe most of you sent me emails, okay? The council emails. We're not going to vote on this tonight. We're going to carry it over 2 weeks to take your input that you've sent us by email. If you haven't done that, please send it to me or the city clerk. We'll use that to upgrade and update the stuff that I know you're concerned about. We've got a good many people concerned. We understand that. And we have purpose. I think Ms. Johnson has purpose of what she's trying to do, but some of the interpretations are incorrect. So we're going to take your information and modify the ordinance, and then we'll have it back on the agenda in 2 weeks. Okay? Anybody? That way, I just got too many people to speak, and I think I've already heard from most of you, and the council heard from you too. So that's reason we're carrying it over, because we want to make sure we did it right. Okay?
Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
Just so they know, when will they see the copy of the revised?
We'll have it back on the agenda next time revised.
So next 2 weeks from
2 weeks from
next
today, it'll
Friday?
be back
Okay.
on the agenda.
Okay.
Okay? Please, come here.
Revised copy.
Oh, yeah, you'll have a revised copy, yeah.
It will be available the Friday afternoon before the next council meeting.
They can just come by the clerk's office and pick it up?
They can, or I can email you either one, as soon as they provide me a copy. The agenda will close at noon on that Friday before, and it will be available to the public at that time.
Okay? Okay? All right. This item will be carried over to next meeting, okay? Number 5,
Item 5, resolution authorizing Mayor Reed to execute an agreement with AlDOT for resurfacing and sidewalk beautification along South Court Street from Fairview to South Boulevard.
Need a motion to suspend the rules.
Move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. Item 6, resolution appointing voting delegate and first alternate voting delegate to the Alabama League of Municipalities Convention, May the 11th through the 14th.
Okay, council, we need to make a recommendation on who would be nominated. We have 2 council members going, and one needs to be the voting delegate and one needs to be the first alternate. I would like to suggest that our senior council member, Mrs. Graham, is going, and our junior council member, Mrs. Johnson, is going. And I'd like for them to be Ms. Graham being the voting delegate, Ms. Johnson being the alternate. Does anybody have a problem with that?
No.
Come on, Pruitt.
Hey,
You want to go, Pruitt?
I just think a few things about Aldridge, but I'll be all right. I'll vote for it.
Yeah, I hear you. Don't bring up no dirty
Don't
language.
say on the date. Wait till I come back.
All right, okay.
Is that by consensus, council?
Council, do you have it?
Is that by consensus?
Give me a motion to adopt that.
Move to adopt what President Jenwright said.
Okay.
Ms. Graham.
Have a motion to adopt.
Ms. Graham being the voting delegate
Okay.
and
All right.
Ms.
Have a-
Johnson being the alternate.
Have a
Okay.
suspension of the rules on this item?
Well, you need to vote on the voting delegates first, and then we'll move to the
Okay,
resolution, because
all
these
right.
have to be plugged into the resolution.
All in favor of the delegates, please raise your hand.
Unanimous. Now
Now-
then, suspension of rules.
Now suspend the rules on this item.
Move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted with those changes.
All right, very good.
Item 7, show cause hearing on the proposed revocation of the business license of All Rock Lounge, 5480 Atlanta Highway.
All right, Mr. Reddy here.
Did Mr. Reddy come?
Don't say yes. Mr. Reddy here, representative of the Aqua Lounge. We have a representative of Aqua Lounge here.
Oral. That's
Oral. Sorry.
Pre-med, pre-law.
Chief, you have some information for us? Yeah, he ain't here.
Yeah, before I turn it over to Major Rucker, who will address that, I just want to start with saying congratulations to Chief Jordan and the fire department for that accreditation. That's a big deal. And having worked in 2 agencies now with law enforcement accreditation, my last agency and the Montgomery Police Department, that should be a very proud moment for the men and women of the fire department here. So congratulations to Chief Jordan. You know, 8 days ago, I raised my hand and was sworn in as the 15th police chief here in the city of Montgomery. And the city opened their arms and welcomed me, as the council did too. So I just want to say thank you to the council. Thank you for the warm welcome. And I'll be reaching out to each and every one of you for meetings, one-on-one, starting out. You know, my first week was working internally, dealing with the internal workings of the police department, and just kind of fine-tune things there. And so far this week, and I've set up for next week, meetings with my stakeholders, the U.S. Attorney's Office, the DA's Office, ATF, FBI, neighborhoods, clergy, and so on and so forth. So the council is part of that, because together we're going to get where my vision leads us to a safer Montgomery. So I just wanted to say thank you before I turn it over to Major Rucker to address that number 7 item, and I look forward to working with each and every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
We're about to hear the good message.
Good evening. This is in reference to, I'm up here in reference to some complaints that I received from Councilman Grimes in reference to some constituent complaints on this establishment, which is the Club R at 5480 Atlanta Highway. Over the last year, from January 1st to 2021 to April 4th, 2022, we've went to investigate 79 investigate unknown calls, 34 unknown disturbances, 6 report in person calls, which could be investigations, 6 fights, 3 calls with subsequent to guns, 3 calls of shots fired, 1 subject cut, and a domestic incident. during a 12-month period.
Major, I got a question for you. To me, that sounds like excessively high.
Yes, sir. That was over this period from January 1st, 2021 to April 4th, 2022, they had 204 calls of service.
Major Rucker, can I ask you a question for you?
Yes, sir.
Now, how much of this is actually in their parking lot or in adjacent parking lots? How many calls are you actually going to their physical address according?
These are calls to the physical address.
The physical address?
Yes, sir.
Not the parking lot, correct?
Yes,
Do
ma'am,
you
I
have a list of the calls for the parking lot?
No, I have the calls. These calls I have listed right here. There's probably 3 pages of them. These are to the actual address itself.
It's to the bar.
It's to the bar.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that kind of answers your question, Mr. Grimes.
And my owner's not here, correct?
Right, he's not here.
Wow.
They were sent a certified letter, and I did receive a certificate back that someone had received it.
What's your next move, Doc?
What's your next?
What is our next move? What can we do at this point? Pull their business license?
That's number 8 is revoking license.
Yeah.
I know. Okay.
Number 8's resolution is revoked. Yeah. Committee would come back if he was revoked.
Mr. Grimes.
Yes, sir.
It's just my point, and I appreciate you bringing this, but if the owner don't have the decency to show up at this time.
I think I'm pulling his license.
Let's go to work.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I need a motion to suspend the rules on this item, number 8.
Motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous?
Motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is
Put
adopted.
his license in.
That goes into effect after the mayor signs it, correct?
That's correct. That's correct. We will send it, once I get the assignment from the mayor, I will send it to business license, and they will go out and inform them.
Will business license notify MPD once it's signed to
I
let them
think
know?
they,
for
sometimes
those-
they have them go with them. Now, I don't know. That's going to be a fake Homer question.
I got a question for.
Okay, next item.
Hang on one
we
second.
got a
Mr.
question.
Hold on one second.
We're going to make sure we go in the right direction here.
Yeah. I was just curious, once the mayor signs the resolution on revoking the business license, how does MPD get informed that, let's say he signs it Thursday morning, and they go by Club Aurora Friday night and they're open, how are they made aware that the license has been revoked?
Well, our office will contact the police department and notify them.
Okay.
But we will also take a notice out and take it out to the establishment as well.
Okay.
And one question for you.
Thank you.
One other question. I know this establishment had a type of license that they can stay open, I think, 24/7, 7 days a week. Since we're pulling that license, if somebody else come in,
no, they
will not be able to, or if we reissue that license, that'll be done and over with, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Item 9, application for a restaurant retail liquor license doing business as Crab Kings Montgomery, 79 Commerce Street.
Representative Crab Kings here, please.
That's nowhere to go yet.
Where they at? They're not here?
Oh, not here?
They're not here either? Rained it out. Folks didn't show beer there. We'll carry it over.
We're gonna carry it over.
We have to have a
Yes, sir, you need to
public
have
hearing.
a public hearing. Yes, sir.
This is a public hearing. Anyone would like to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, I declare the public hearing's been held. We'll carry this over for 2 weeks.
Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
I didn't know we just asked for a public hearing. Okay, I guess you something.
I'm trying to help you get your stuff.
Was that him?
Take it too long.
Yeah, I'm not
Okay.
speaking against it, I'm speaking for it. I'm
Okay.
just here to apply for my,
Your name, sir?
Kieran Coe.
Okay, Mr. Go. Got you on the list, all right? I declare the public hearing's been held. It's proper with council in motion.
Motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous?
All right, motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Good luck with your business, sir.
Thank you.
Item 10, application for a special events retail liquor license doing business as City of Montgomery, Department of Cultural Affairs at 300 Water Street.
Here's a representative of the city, Cultural Affairs, okay? Your name for the record, sir?
Good evening. I'm Ken Reynolds, and I'm here on behalf of the Department of Cultural Affairs to request a special event liquor license for this year's annual Seafood and Arts Festival.
Thank
The
you.
event will be under the Union Station train shed from 6 to 9 p.m. on April the 15th.
Very good. This is a public hearing. Anyone who wants to speak against this item, come on forward. Seeing none, I declare public hearing's been held. It's proper for the council. Need a motion?
Motion to suspend the rules?
Have motion to suspend rules. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous?
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Very good. Good.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Item 11, resolution reappointing Bo Holmes to the Board of Adjustment.
Need a motion to suspend the rules and the rest of the agenda. Mr. Pruitt,
Motion to suspend the rules for the rest of the agenda.
all in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Need a motion to adopt. Mr. Pruitt.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Put them up the hand. I missed the hands. Go ahead. Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Okay.
Item 12, pursuant to Section 1153B1 Code of Alabama, authorization of demolition of unsafe structures at the listed locations.
Anyone out there to speak
Motion
against?
to adopt.
Well, you want to ask if
You want
anybody's
to
here?
ask if anyone here want to speak?
On number 12, I don't have anybody signed up for number 12. I do have somebody for number
13.
13.
Okay. Move to adopt.
A motion to adopt, all in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Item 13, resolution declaring, authorizing, and assessing cost of abatement of public nuisances on various lots.
Irvin J. Owen, are you here, please? You have an issue with item 13. Yes, sir. Your name for the record?
Irvin Jeffrey O's.
Okay. And your issue with it?
I have an interest in a lot I bought on a tax sale. Parcel number 0409-323-004-019-000.
Okay.
The lot have 17 cars on it. I presently moved 8 off. These cars belong to Mr. Petway here.
Okay.
And I've been told, I got a notice in the mail Saturday stating that I needed to move them Sunday.
So, this is my district, Mr. President. I had a conversation with Mr. Petway, and he asked for some time to remove the cars with the tow truck. So by the end of the month, Mr. Petway?
Okay.
So that'll be without penalty? Without penalty? As long as we get a move before the end of the month?
Yeah.
Thomas?
We
Yeah, if you make an amendment on that, we just take it off.
We normally give him an extension, don't we?
We're gonna leave this up to, Ms. Johnson. She'd asked us to work that area to clean up, up and down, Lower Temple Road there.
Okay.
But it'd be at her discretion.
Okay.
So if she wants to
Yeah,
move it.
as long as they're moved within
She
the
gave
end
him
of the
30
month.
days, that's good.
Thank you.
Very good. Okay.
I have something to say, if I would. On the city of Montgomery, I have a problem. And the problem I have was with Mr. Thomas Carr, the man that just spoke. He said that he didn't like me. For what reason, I don't know. But I've been going through it ever since he's been with the housing code. I bought some property from the federal government. And the property I bought from the federal government was back in 2009. I didn't own it at 2007. It was a lien on it for tearing down a house. It was a black guy. Eddie Hill was over the housing code then, and the tax lien from the federal government, it was adjudicated by the federal government, no taxes, none whatsoever. When I bought the property, no taxes. The lady stated that at the hearing. Mr. Thomas Carr came up in 2007, opened up a dead lien, put it on me in 2011, and had it documented through the court. the tax assessor office. That was wrong. Then on my building, I had a new building. Everything that I worked for, I put it in this building. The housing code, along with Brandon Hogg, along with Mr. Thomas Carr, they came along and tore my building down. My package store was ready to open up. I bought umpteens of llama to redo the other part of the building. I had a permit, I had license, and I was okay through the city as well as the ABC board. That didn't do. They came along to tore
What year was
my
that?
building
What
down.
year- I hear in 2011 that this thing was, that you were dealing with this property?
Sir?
2011? 11 years ago?
2007. No, let me clarify that for you. It was in 2011 that Mr. Thomas Carr came in and put a tax lien on me through the through the courthouse that was adjudicated by the federal government.
In
That was wrong.
2011, that happened, right?
2011, yes, sir.
That's 11 years ago.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Carr, what's going on here?
Well, I was just curious, who'd you deal with the federal government when you first made the purchase?
Mrs. Roberta Cooley, the tax.
The federal government
Yeah.
or the state government? You
That
bought it
was
from the state
federal.
tax sale?
Let me reinstate it for you. The federal government, the IRS.
Mr. Pettaway, how many properties have you got that you've picked up from the state tax sale? How many times have you been cited? There's a history of neglected properties owned by Roosevelt Pettaway.
Quite a bit.
And Mr. Thomas Carr, have put a lien on you personally. Thomas Carr was performing his duties for the city of Montgomery. And he was acting on the council orders.
Very good.
So I just want to clarify that to
President.
start with.
Yes.
Now,
Can we go to item 13,
I think
please?
Mr. Pettaway is also on a non-agenda.
That's what we
item.
don't-
Okay, it is.
I don't think
Mr.
any of this
Pettaway,
on the agenda.
I've heard enough, okay?
Thank
11
you.
years, it's okay with me.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, number 13,
You got somebody else?
I need a motion to, you here on number 13?
For 13.
13?
Yes.
All right, tell me, I have you,
My name is Sharon Arrington.
okay, East Patton Avenue?
Yes, I live at 309 East Patton Avenue. I'm also a nurse in the city and I'm working sometimes every day.
Okay.
Don't really know the codes and stuff of the state because I'm not from here. I'm more familiar with Ohio codes. So I have a problem with, I somewhat worked it out today by coming down here
Okay.
with Ms. Graham and the building code to allow me more time.
Okay.
As a nurse and the only homeowner living there, to give somebody 10 days and you already have your schedule made to work at different facilities around the state to,
When you got a call and get you extension,
yeah,
and he fixed you, took care
yeah,
of
he
you?
helped me out a lot and I appreciate it.
Okay, very
I've
good.
already spoken to
Yeah.
Mr. Arrington outside. I
And
got
I-
his contact
yeah.
information.
All right,
And Mr.
very
Graham
good.
asked me to work with
Yeah, I want to thank both of them today.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah, I appreciate you.
All right, I need a motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Okay.
We have Mrs. Counselor Johnson's application for a special events retail liquor license, doing business as R&B Blues Picnic at 355 Coosa Street.
Okay.
This is gonna be Frankie, are you still out here? Come up to the front and let them know what you're doing. But he's doing on May 1st, it's gonna be a R&B Blues Picnic at the Riverfront Amphitheater. And he's applying for that special
Special
event
events, okay.
liquor license.
Okay, this is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, declare the public hearing's been held. Need a motion to suspend the rules.
Motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Okay.
Resolution is
Let me
adopted.
finish. Let me finish.
If anyone has a question about the event, I'll address the question. Other than that, I'm cool with it.
You could. Okay.
All right, cool.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Council, I have one request for contingency funds from District 4, $1,000 to the Cancer Wellness Foundation of Central Alabama for Women of Blue. And this has already been approved by Mayor Reed.
Okay, I need a motion to adopt this.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Okay. All right. To address Mr. Henry Gordon,